Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 9 of season 2 of the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. I am your host, Dustin Bali, joining you tonight from the virtual Road Atlanta Speedway in Georgia. We are currently about 11 minutes away from the end of qualifying, and the story of the night is Mr. Aaron Smith, who is a newcomer to this series, but he is not a newcomer to the truck, and he's certainly not a newcomer to this circuit. He put down a blistering lap of a 1:23.1, and it has the rest of the field pretty much scratching their heads at this point. It's a tight battle behind him. Brandon Brush narrowly ahead of race winner Richard Lucky. Actually, Brandon Brush is another race winner. Brandon Brush won our first race at Talladega. Richard Lucky, of course, won at Watkins Glen. Phil Keck himself, who we're watching, is a two-time winner. Both of those victories coming last season at Rudskogen and Interlagos, which will both be appearing on the calendar for season 3. Watching Chris Winslow here with, looks like Tom went right behind Brandon Brush there, your P2 man. And he's chasing Chris Lucky, who is yet to set a time. See what Chris Lucky can do. Chris Lucky and Richard found themselves out in front yet again at Mosport last week. Right along with Mr. Chris Lucky here, see what he can see. Currently chasing Brandon Brush there in P2. Now this track is super difficult. I did a couple practice laps myself, and basically everything from the last turn through the first couple of corners is extremely difficult. We'll ride on board here and you guys can kind of see what's going on. So this is the chicane before the last turn. So the last turn is completely blind. You go over this hill here and you already have to start cranking the wheel to the right. You have a very fast, long sweeping right-hander here as you cross the start-finish line. This next couple of corners is very difficult. So you just can see a little bit of one. Chris kind of tiptoeing through there, and then not a lot of visibility here as you go through the first couple of corners. Yep, he makes that there. This section here, all these corners are so tight. Yeah, you see right there, he thought it was a different spot, which makes me think that Chris might not have practiced this track before running tonight. Mr. Phil Keck, who has been out for a number of races, ran himself a 1:24.06, so good for him. That launches him up into second place, right ahead of Brandon Brush. So great run there for Phil. Let's go back down the order here. We got Mr. Evan Hubchak, currently sitting in 5th spot. Evan, of course, was on the podium last week at Mosport. I think he was the first. I can't remember if he pitted or not, but he made his way up to the rostrum after everyone else around him. Yeah, Dan did not pit, so Evan must have pitted. I think Dan finished 4th, if I recall correctly. So Evan looking pretty good here. Sam Stoner, who's had a number of chances to win races this season, and they just haven't worked out for whatever reason, and he's got a solid 6th place right now, so he'll see if maybe he can turn that into a good run in the sprint and see if he can maybe make something happen in the feature. But gosh, it's going to be hard with Aaron Smith. Yellow number 700. Looking to be the man to beat. Dan Ott there running a special paint scheme for this race. That Rat Rod inspired number 29. Jay Bast here, about 0.7 of a second off of P2 right now, so he's doing pretty good. Devin Jack, of course, will get an EOL after an incident at the Daytona race, so he will start last, but he is quick and he'll be looking to hit that top 10, so he'll be in a good position for the feature. So anyone new to this series, if you're not familiar with our format, how it works is we have a 55-minute qualifying session, which you're watching right now. Gives drivers plenty of time to set the hot lap, try and one-up their rivals. And then we go to a 15-minute sprint race based on the starting order from qualifying. And then after the sprint race, we invert the top 10 finishers, and P10 will start P1 in the feature, and P1 will start P10. So it just is a way to mix up the grid a little bit and keep these road races interesting. Sometimes they can become kind of a snooze fest, but if you got fast guys mired in the back, it's hard not for there to be action. So we're excited about that. Format's been working really well, and I think we're going to keep it for season 3. Right behind Mr. Brandon Brush here is Daniel Morris Jr. He's no stranger to road course racing, especially in these trucks. It's good to have him back this season. Currently about 2.6 seconds off of Aaron Smith's time, but yeah, I think he might just be getting settled in, and I expect him to be contending for that top 10. Oh, Evan Hubchak there had a bit of an incident. Take a look at the replay here. Oh, got onto the grass, and that looks a lot like my accident from last week. Thankfully, this is just qualifying. He can hit the reset button and try again. Chris Lucky, yeah, he's way back. I don't know if he just, this is uncharacteristic. Makes me think he hadn't practiced for this race unless he's got a good lap going here. Still 15th. That last lap was a 27.4. Oh, so Richard Lucky did make his way up to P2 here with a he got a 123.89. So he is the second driver now in the 123. So that's great news for him. Maybe he'll be able to put a little bit of pressure on Aaron Smith. But yes, a 3 3/4 second gap is an eternity on a road course. That's just hard to overcome. So we'll see what happens. I think if Aaron Smith continues to show this pace advantage, I think the sprint will be a easy run for him, and then we'll see what he can do in the feature if he starts in the back. Or he could make a mistake and be in good shape for the feature and run away with that. So we'll see. Phil Keck here, who has been, and Brandon Brush just pipped both of them, so he now gets within 0.6 of a second of Aaron Smith. So we have 3 drivers all within a second now, so the times are maybe coming down a little bit. Maybe it's a favorable track temperature. Whoa, Benson Weaver there right in front of the 77. Yeah, that first corner, we talked about it earlier, is just so difficult to get right. Sam Stoner gets within a second. Good job for Sam. What a great run for him. It's a nice lap, looking good. So Aaron Smith, who for a little while there had a pretty sizable gap over everybody, now everyone's starting to maybe kind of figure things out a little bit. Aaron Smith still parked in the pit lane. He's pretty confident in his lap time and doesn't think he's going to be challenged. Oh, and we do have a Jacob Bradley. Jacob Bradley, of course, is a elite oval driver. I mean, the best there is. They're as good as they come. But on the road courses, he is a little more human. But I think with some practice time here, I think he would be in good shape. But I don't know how much he's been practicing Road Atlanta. But certainly good to have Jacob Bradley back here. If you guys are free Wednesday nights, him and Johnny Rapp run the Spark Racing League, which puts on a great show. I actually was calling that race last night. Fantastic finish there between Johnny Rapp and Hunter Gio last night, but always good to see that. So Taking a look at our other drivers here. So Chris Winslow, right now in the 17th position. His best is a 32.3, so maybe still trying to figure out the lines, the breaking points as he gets some speed throughout this qualifying session. We have now just a minute to go, so I think it's unlikely probably that Aaron Smith will get beaten. When I'm watching that top 5, seeing who's on the track here. Sam Stoner's on the track, Phil Keck, Richard Lucky, Brandon Brush. So they're all out there trying to make a little bit of time, but that's a real close 2nd through 5th group there. And I mean, you could kind of lump Jay Bass, Evan Hubchak in there too. Dan Ott we know is fast. Dan Ott nearly won the race last week at Mosport, which ended up being a fuel mileage race. But Dan Ott has parked it for the session. I think he's happy. Let's see if anyone else is out there. Got Laura Wiseman out there. Pretty good. She had a 25.5. Oh, Mark Royce and Jacob Bradley there go into the top 10. Royce just barely hipping Bradley. Vincent Weaver there got a handful of wheel as he comes through that last turn. That last turn's so difficult. You can't see so many of these turns at this racetrack. Got just about 5 seconds to go, so I think this is going to be it. We're going to send all the drivers to the pits, and we're getting ready for the feature here. So let's take a look at our starting grid. Aaron Smith there with a 123.1. Brandon Brush there, about 0.6 of a second behind, and then followed by Richard Lucky and Phil Keck on row 2. So a good run for Phil in his first road race back in a while. Sam Stoner, Jay Bass round out row 3. Evan Hubchak, Dan Ott, guys who have been on the podium regularly this season. So they're looking to move up from row 4. Devin Jack, Mark Royce, and Jacob Bradley, Laura Wiseman. See if we can see if there's a way for. Oh, here we go. I can go to my second page here. Johnny Rapp, really surprised that he's down in P13. I mean, we watched him last night at Sonoma, and he was ridiculously fast. I expected him to be at least in the top 5, so that's kind of surprising. Daniel Morris Jr. there, Chris Lucky too. So maybe that's just these guys took their time learning the track and couldn't put something together, but we'll have to see what they do. My eyes are going to be on Johnny Rapp, Chris Lucky. I think they're going to make their way into the top 10. Steve Loving is not going to be joining us for the race, and then Chris Winslow, Benson Weaver running up the rear. So getting ready for the sprint race here. Aaron Smith with a dominating performance in qualifying. So he gets his first pole in his league debut. Real impressive stuff for him. And we'll see what Brandon Brush can do. I want to give a shout out to anyone tuning in, watching. It's good to have you here, and I want to give a special thanks to all the drivers who showed up. So we had 19 trucks without Steve Loving. We had 18. That's one of our better road course turnouts, so I really appreciate everyone showing up. We're about getting ready to go racing here. Road Atlanta, Round 9, Road and Plate Series, Season 2. Green flag is about to come out. Aaron Smith on the pole. Here we go. We watch the field come into turn 1. Aaron Smith cuts back down to the outside. Jay Bass to the inside. Good getaway for Aaron Smith, and it's a bad getaway for Brandon Brush. He was wiggling, and he got passed by Richard Lucky. Richard Lucky there in second. Jay Bass, Phil Keck. Oh, Phil's bumping and banging with Brandon Brush there. We got side-by-side action in the back. Sam Stoner, Dan Ott. Wow, we got a whole bunch of side-by-side action. It looks like Evan Hubchak making his way up. Dan Ott. Sam still side-by-side. Sam jumping the curb. Sam's going to make it work. Oh, and Sam's through the grass. He holds on to that 6th spot. Jay Bass making a move on Phil Keck there. Phil holds the inside wisely. We got an exciting opening lap here, folks. Oh, Phil overshoots the corner, and he's off the track. Some of that rust showing a little bit after a really, really nice qualifying session. He gets passed by both Dan Ott and Sam Stoner. Phil Keck already back to 7th. He's going to want to make sure he stays in that top 10 so he's in good shape for the feature. Oh, Jacob Bradley narrowly tries to get through Sam Stoner. Or sorry, Evan Hubchak and Mark Royce. We got a battle back here. Jacob Bradley's on the outside here. This is the hard last corner. They're side by side through the last corner. Wow, Jacob Bradley using all the road and then some. Mark Royce has the preferred line into turn 1, though. And Jacob is not there. Jacob goes off. Yeah, ran out of racetrack. Jacob Bradley now under attack from Tom Wendt. Tom Wendt dives his nose underneath. A lot of side-by-side racing. Oh, we got Devin Jack making his way up. So Devin Jack did have an EOL to start this race. He's already made his way up to 13th. So he's now looking at that Laura Wiseman spot. She's got P10. That's where he wants to be. Back up front, Aaron. Oh, Richard Lucky just spun. Oh, no. Richard Lucky. P2 in both the sprint and the feature 1 week ago. And he is down the order all the way back to 9th. Laura Wiseman now overtakes him for that 9th spot. Finds his way himself back in 10th. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe he wants to be 10th. He's got Johnny Rapp, Jacob Bradley breathing down his neck, though. But unfortunate for Richard Lucky. That makes Aaron Smith's life a little bit easier. He's got a 1.6 second gap over Brandon Brush. Jay Bass driving a fantastic race there in 3rd. Sam Stoner. Dan Ott and Phil Keck about to do battle here. Phil Keck obviously had that off last lap, so he's working to try and make some positions up. So we're now on lap 3 or so. Trying to find a lap counter here on my timing board. Can't find it, but a couple laps into this race. We've got about 11 minutes left. So if you're in the top 10, obviously the sprint is about pushing as hard as you can because you don't have to make a pit stop and you only have to make your tires last for so long. But you are pretty early into this race. You're starting to think about the feature. Where do I want to be for the feature? Oh, and Jay Bast has gotten into 2nd. So what just happened here? Brandon Brush went off track, and I missed that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he hops the curb and gets very, very sideways. He misses the wall and continues on. So Brandon Brush currently in the 7th spot. What I was going to say was that these drivers are now thinking about the feature race. You do get a good chunk of points, though, for the sprint race. So getting a top 3, top 5 here is nothing to sneeze at. And it does count towards your overall race results. But everyone's focused on the main show. So right now, Jacob Bradley, Richard Lucky, they're in a good spot. So Jacob Bradley probably trying to make sure that he maintains that gap that he has right now, or Devin Jack, who just got passed by Tom Wendt. Looks like Benson Weaver heading off further back. He's fighting with Daniel Morris Jr. and just runs a little too wide, and his rear wheels catch the grass. Nice little drift there from the 1. No harm, no foul. He's back on. Oh, we have another report. Johnny Rapp just went out. Oh, Johnny Rapp has spun from, I believe he was in the 12th or 13th position. Brandon Brush just passed Johnny Rapp for P14. So Brandon Brush now, after that accident, pretty far back. No change up front. Aaron Smith, Jay Bass, Sam Stoner. Sam Stoner finds himself in a podium position here in this sprint race. And Phil Keck, after that earlier incident, is going to be P4 here. So he's looking pretty good. Dan Ott running a solid 5th. So a lot of usual names there up front now. With a couple of these big names. Richard Lucky having issues. Brandon Brush having issues. Johnny Rapp having issues. Really didn't expect them to be as far back as they are, but you do get a second chance. You gotta get into that top 10. So Jacob Bradley right now has got a 4-second lead over Devin Jack. Let's go on board with Jacob Bradley here. And I think he's just content following Chris Lucky, or excuse me, Richard Lucky in the 51. Richard Lucky is still getting racy. He's going to try and overtake Laura Wiseman here. This will get Richard some important points for the championship, but unfortunately will put him in a worse starting spot for the feature race, but he will do what he can to... Oh, good defensive line there from Laura, and Laura just doesn't have the brakes to hold off Richard there, but solid driving for her, and still she's looking good for a prime starting spot for this feature. Chris Lucky just went off track at turn 1. Gosh, it's hard. Yeah, the rear end gets a little loose, gets way off over the curb. Did kind of what Benson did earlier, and he's back on. So this battle between 8th, 9th, and 10th is probably the closest on the track right now, one that we're watching. Mark Royce, Richard Lucky, Laura Wiseman, Jacob Bradley. Yeah, you got to feel for Brandon Brush, Johnny Rapp. You know those guys are fast. I know they expected to be up further. These cars are they're so hard to drive, as I learned last week. At Mosport, I went over the curb and I think it was after turn 1 and hooked the left side and ate the wall on the right side. So you just got to be so careful. So we got a little bit of a battle here brewing between Phil Keck and Sam Stoner. So take a look at this. See just how fast that last corner is. So Phil must have passed Sam Stoner, because I remember Sam being in 3rd. See if I can find that. For whatever reason, it didn't pick it up, but Phil looking really good here. He's found a little bit of speed. Trying to look at some lap times here. So last lap, yeah, Aaron Smith is just on a different level. So he's running 24.1. Everyone else is, or Jay Bass and Phil Keck are 24.6 and 8 respectively, and then everyone else is in the 25. So this top 3 is really marching away from the rest of the field. And I don't know if, for someone like Richard Lucky, who we know is fast, has just resigned himself to be in the position that he's in. And hope for better results in the future. But yeah, Jay Bass looking real good in 2nd place in this sprint race. The number 53 machine. Make sure you check out his Twitch channel at twitchtv.jbassblast. He broadcasts our races live every Thursday night. He participates in a number of other series, so go check him out. He's a good friend of the league. What a great shot there, getting all these cars coming through that last turn. Richard Lucky here. Oh, Evan Hubchak making a move on Dan Ott. There he goes on the inside. Dan is going to hold it up. Oh, he goes wide. Evan makes it stick. Good work for him. These guys are rivals in the American Muscle Series. Getting their elbows out here tonight at Road Atlanta. About 4.5 minutes to go. That's going to be about 3 laps. We're going to wrap this sprint race up and head on to our main event. Oh, we got a couple of off tracks here. So we got Mark Royce who's gone off track. Mark Royce was in the 8th spot, but it looks like he went off and then came back on. Yeah, gosh, this track is so difficult. You just can't see where the corners are. He just goes right off, comes back on. He's obviously got some right side damage on that number 44 Ford. Oh, Daniel Morris Jr. has crashed. So this is, I think this is maybe turn 1. Oh, Johnny Rapp parks the truck. Daniel Morris Jr. goes off of that same corner that Mark Royce just did. Johnny Rapp is in the pits. So I don't know if he had an issue. So he's in the pits. All right, so we're going to go back live here. Back to our leader. And at the closest battle on the track here, it's probably between the 7 and the 29 still. Whoa, both of them! And Evan, I was going to say that looks like Richard Lucky there gets by Dan Ott. They're still side by side. Wow, Richard with a power move on the outside there. Dan Ott's going to be looking for the over-under. Not going to make it. All right, trying to look for some more battles here. Got Jacob Bradley there, holding on to 9th spot. So him, Laura Wiseman. Oh, Laura goes off in the back there. Man, there's a big gap from 10th to 11th. And it's Brandon Brush. Brandon Brush is just going to run out of time. So the good news is for Brandon Brush is that he will, assuming Aaron Smith completes his lights to flag victory here, Brandon will be right behind him. I might have a car that he can follow through the field here. So don't count out Brandon Brush yet. Brandon Brush, I believe, was on the podium at Road America on top of winning at Daytona. So he's a force to be reckoned with, both on the plate tracks and the road tracks. It's always good racing with him. And Tom went there, hanging on in 12th. He's turning some good laps. Tom's in the 126s, so he's not too far off from the majority of the field here. He's holding Devin Jack at bay. Chris Lucky there in 14th. Daniel Morris Jr. putting on a drift show for us tonight. He's got the 48 sideways pretty much through every corner. Jay Bast, Phil Keck. Phil Keck wants that P2. Watch them maybe for the duration of this race here. Let's go on board Phil, see what he can see. Start watching Jay Bass there. Here's Phil. I think this is going to be the white flag. Wow, look at that. Total opposite lock. Hear just how easy Phil is on the throttle. Jay Bass works his way through these S's. Phil's all over him. So we get a wider angle here. Phil just trying everything he can. Check on Aaron Smith here. Aaron Smith just passed the lap car of Chris Winslow. Whoa, Chris Winslow just spun. Yeah, he's under Aaron Smith there. Aaron Smith's got Benson Weaver in front of him, and this is it. The time has run out. This is the last lap. So Aaron Smith dominated qualifying, dominated the race. We'll see what he can do from P10 in the feature. I don't think he's going to do much. Oh, and Phil Keck has gotten by Jay Bass. Let's check this out here. Phil Keck. Wow. Let's go back live. I'm sorry. Jay Bass did hold off Phil Keck. Wow, we're going to have to go back to that replay. Jay Bass does hold on to P2. Phil Keck totally sideways. That's the checkered flag. Jay Bass grabs second place. Phil Keck third. What a fantastic battle there at the end. Sam Stoner not far behind. So your top three, though, are going to be Laura Wiseman, Jacob Bradley, Mark Royce. So we're going to see what Mr. Aaron Smith can do from P10, excuse me. All right, let's see if we can grab anyone in the chat. Let's go grab Mr. J Bass. Yeah, let's see if we can go back a lap here. Get our results up here. Get our overall race results. That's qualifying. Oh, here we go. That's what I wanted. Results, heat, results. Oh, we're looking for them. Let's go live maybe. Maybe that's why we can't see them. Okay. All right, well, let's go pull Jay Baston real quick here. Hey, Jay, it's Dustin up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dustin.
Hey, dude, what a battle you had with Phil there. Tell me about that last lap.
That was really fun. Like I got to a certain point where I was staring at my relative and I said, "Oh, wait, Phil's not going to fight me. There's an invert. He wants that spot." And then later did I realize he was right next to me. So I said, "Oh, I have the inside." And I did everything I could to hold it. And yeah, that was pretty opportunistic of the 45 car a lap down to just kind of like park it on the start finish there. That was really funny.
Yeah.
But Phil's a good guy. He gave everybody gave room, you know. And yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
If only it was for something.
Yeah, no, well, you get points, and it does count as like a top 5 and a podium. So I mean, I feel like they count as much as the feature, just in terms of like your ego and your mood, right? Knowing that you had the pace, without any shenanigans, right? You qualify up front, you run up front. So it was a great run for both you guys. And I guess
Very fun, very fun.
For Phil, there was some incentive maybe to stay back, but then you went that P2, right? Like it's still a second place finish. Like it's
Yeah, I was looking at the relative going back and forth, like, yeah, maybe if I just let him by, I won't have any pressure or whatever. But then I was like, hang on a second, I'm second right now. I need to finish P2.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right, well, yeah, you want to give us any hopes for the future? Like, obviously, you're going to be back there with Aaron Smith. Do you think you guys will be able to charge to the field?
I don't know, that Aaron Smith guy. He's real fast. So we'll see what how he gets through traffic, and we'll see what the invert brings. I'm glad I finished P2, but I didn't have a lot of practice in traffic. So we'll see how that backstretch chicane section works out for us.
All right, man. You want to give any shout outs before I let you go?
Yeah, let's give a quick shout out to ittybitbetter, ittybitbetter.com, and Homebrew Auto as well. Big thanks to them for supporting the show.
And don't forget to check out twitch.tv/jbassblast.
It's on my car, man. How much do I need to plug my own Twitch?
All right. Good luck in the future, bud. Good run.
Thanks, bud.
Yep. Okay, that was Jay Bass, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go back live. I don't think anyone is on track. Maybe Brandon Brush was. I can hide everything here. And all right, looks like we're back ready for the feature. Okay, Laura Wiseman on pole. Sorry, I'm trying to see if we can get our I think everyone's still gridding maybe. Oh, here we go. This is why. Had our run cam review. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while since I've been in the broadcast booth, so some hiccups are to be expected. So, what do we got for our grid? We got Laura Wiseman on pole, Jacob Bradley in second, Dan Ott, Mark Royce, Asphalt Motorsports teammates on the second row. Third row is Evan Hubchak and Richard Lucky, Phil Keck, and Sam Stoner in row 4, and then Jay Bass and Aaron Smith in row 5. Let's get going on the feature. Let's see what Laura can do here from P1. Laura on the inside, Jacob Bradley on the outside. I know Jacob Bradley's fast, but I don't know if he's Aaron Smith fast. And we are green at Road Atlanta for the feature. Laura Smith holds that inside line. Jacob Bradley goes to the outside. He leaves plenty of room for her, and Jacob Bradley's got the position. Going into turn 2 here. As we go downhill through the S's. Jacob Bradley over the curb. Laura Wiseman, Dan Ott, Mark Royce, Evan Hubchak, and the whole field snakes through. We're watching Jay Bass, Phil Keck continuing to do battle. Continuing their rivalry from that first heat. Aaron Smith there in that 700 number car, the yellow 700 car. He's going to be trying to find a way past Jay Bass. Jay Bass is a good road racer. Oh, he lets him through. Jay says, I don't have the speed for Aaron today. I'm just going to try and follow him and see what I can do. Oh, Sam Stoner runs wide. He runs wide. Phil Keck finds a way on the inside, and Aaron Smith's ready to pounce on them both. Up front, it's Jacob Bradley, who's pulling out a pretty healthy lead over Laura Wiseman. Dan Ott, Mark Royce, Richard Lucky all right behind. We head back to this battle. Aaron Smith trying to work his way through traffic. He's got Phil Keck, and he's not going to make the move yet. Jay Bass is right there with him. So the whole field really, really clean to this first lap. Oh, Jay Bass bobbles a little bit down the hill. Let's see. Oh, Sam's totally sideways. Wow. Using every inch of road with that 65 Ford. Sam knows he's one of the quicker drivers in this field. Because he's got the podium from the sprint race right behind him. So he's in a good spot as long as he can keep that truck on the track. Oh, there goes Mark Royce. Spun it. Oh, that's so disappointing for him. He was running so good. He was in 4th spot. He keeps it going. Oh, poor Mark. He's about to get jumped by Benson Weaver, so Mark drops from 4th to 17th. Heartbreak for the 44. He locks the brakes up going into the hairpin. So we'll have to watch his progress, see if he can make his way back up. Jacob Bradley's got a 2.2 second lead over Laura Wiseman. Dan Ott in 3rd, Richard Lucky there. Aaron Smith has not made, oh, he's about to make his moves here. Sam Stoner, Phil Keck. Oh, Phil Keck gets by Sam Stoner. Oh, little bit of sliding there from Sam Stoner. Jay Bass makes a move on Aaron Smith on the outside. 53 in the 700. Got tight racing all throughout the field here. Lap 2 of the feature here at Road Atlanta. If you're just tuning in, our sprint race was dominated by that yellow number 700 car. He started 10th and has made his way up to 8th now, but he's got a long way to go. He's about 6 seconds behind Jacob Bradley right now. Thought I saw a car maybe just go off there. Benson Weaver went off track. So Sam Stoner doing his best to hold off the 700 of Aaron Smith. Jacob Bradley continues to lead. Laura Wiseman continues to hold second, but she's got a truly train of cars right behind her. Richard Lucky diving to the inside of Dan Ott. I bet they're going to see if they can make something happen. Wow, Richard Lucky makes the move on Dan. He's trying to make the move on Laura, too. Laura good on the brakes there, but I don't know if her... Oh, yeah, the truck's a little sideways, and she gives Richard Lucky plenty of room. Wow, Richard all over the curbs. And he does the over-under there on Laura. So Richard Lucky side by side with 84 into turn one, and he's got the position. Dan Ott's in and trying there on the inside to follow. Wow, and he can't make it stick. And he's got Evan Hubchak and Phil Keck all over him. And all Aaron Smith can say is, how do I get by all these people? So Richard Lucky there, he's looking good for P2. Aaron Smith's got 4 cars to pass. Try and get up there. Jacob Bradley, all he sees is daylight. So Jacob Bradley running a 124.8. Aaron Smith's last lap was a 124.4. So Aaron is the fastest car on the track, but only by a couple of tenths. He's certainly not going to catch Jacob Bradley at this point. But I think it's fair to say that as long as there's no issues, Aaron will get around these cars. It's just a matter of what kind of gap can Jacob Bradley pull out. I'm going to be watching that gap between Jacob Bradley, and Richard Lucky. We know Richard Lucky's fast. That gap's already gone from 4.8 to 4.6 seconds. And Aaron Smith's going to have Brandon Brush, who did qualify in the top 5 for the sprint race. It looked like someone just went with all those. Laura Wiseman. Laura just went off there. Yep, just mowed the grass a little bit, and she's back on. So Brandon Brush trying to make his way past Laura Wiseman. So Laura Wiseman, who started on the front row, I believe. Front row or pole? Pole. Has made her way back. Back into the lower part of the top 10, but a good run nonetheless. Get some experience running up front. And maybe she can follow Jay Bass and see what he can do. Let's see what's going on. So we got Jacob Bradley still continuing to lead. Richard Lucky's closing that gap still a little bit. It was 4.8, now it's down about 4.4. So he is closing the gap. Evan Hubchak then. Oh, there goes Aaron Smith right around Dan Ott. What a power move from the 700. So Aaron Smith has already clawed back half of his positions that he lost coming into this feature. So we're going to see if Phil Keck goes defensive here into the chicane, which we expect he will. Let's see what these two do on the brakes. Oh, Phil. Wow, Aaron's so good on the brakes, but Phil, and he's got the preferred line. Another great move by the 700. And now 29 is going to get under 888 there. Dan Ott looking for a way past Phil Keck, and he cannot do it. Aaron Smith has made his way up to 4th position. Jacob Bradley's last lap was a 125.01. Aaron Smith's last lap was a 25.3. I expect Aaron Smith here probably to start pounding out some monster laps. We're gonna have to see what they do on fuel. I have no idea what the fuel window, fuel strategy is going to be. So Chris Winslow just went off track, battling with the 44. 44's got to be. Whoa, the 45 just goes completely off the track. And he hits the wall, backs it up, and keeps going. Oh, Richard Lucky's making a bunch of time on Jacob Bradley there. We're going to watch Evan Hubchak and Aaron Smith do battle here. The yellow 700 continues to march his way through this field. And I don't know how much of his tires he would have burned up making all those moves. If any of these drivers are trying to play the long game. So if they're going to pit, well, they'll probably pit at the halfway mark. I reckon everyone's probably going to pit around the 16, 17 minute mark. And a lot of the guys like to short pit. They like to go for the undercut, get out with fresh rubber and see if they can make some time up on their rivals, or their rivals are out on old tires. It's usually the winning strategy in these races. And Smith now with a very, very close view of Evan Hubchak's rear bumper. Evan Hubchak, of course, is the owner of, or a co-owner, co-founder of Palm Rat Golf, which will be sponsoring our series next season. So this will become the Road and Plate Palm Rat Golf Truck Series. So we love Evan. We appreciate everything he does for us, and can't wait to get that green Palm Rat Golf logo on all the trucks for next season. So really cool. And let's see what he can do trying to hold off Aaron Smith. So he did really good there. He didn't open the door. Again, Evan Hubchak finds himself in another top 3 spot. He always seems to find a way. He was on the podium at Donington. He was on P2 at Watkins Glen. I know he's finished second in a number of the plate races, so he's always there. We're waiting for him to get his first win. I would say today might be one of those days, but I think that 700 number yellow, or the yellow number 700 car is going to be hard to beat. So these gaps right now, they're kind of staying the same. Aaron Smith and Evan Hubchak ran identical lap times there, and that's just because Aaron can't get by. And then Richard Lucky was about half a second off of that, and then Jacob Bradley's actually running the high 124s. So Jacob Bradley's starting to put a little more distance between himself and Richard Lucky. So things looking good for the number 50 right now, but I think he's probably looking at the timing screens and seeing what this yellow 700 is going to do. Going to go back through the field here. Actually, yeah. Oh, Jay Bass turns. Dan Ott gets him sideways. I think Jay Bass backed off a little bit because he felt bad, but it's knocked off a little bit. And Devin Jack currently up 6 spots, so he's the second biggest mover behind Aaron Smith. Devin Jack, of course, started dead last in the sprint race. Did not make his way to the top 10, but he's looking good for P7 right now. So what an amazing drive for him. Definitely be one of those guys we'll talk to after the race, assuming he can hold his position. Aaron Smith did make his way past Evan Hubchak. So let's take a look at how that happened. This is how he's made a number of these passes. This is how he made the pass on Phil Keck. He's just better on the brakes than his rivals tonight. I don't know if that's maybe Evan. Yeah, Evan probably knew that he didn't have anything. Good clean pass for the 700, and he's now back into the top 3. So he's now only 5 seconds behind Bradley. So Bradley, something must have happened to him because that was 8 seconds. Last lap, Bradley ran a 25.6, so he is about a second slower right now than Aaron Smith. So we're going to watch that gap go down. Bradley continuing to lead this race. Just about 22 minutes to go right now. Let's see if we can find another close battle there. Looks like we have a really good battle going on between Tom Wendt and Johnny Rapp. Johnny Rapp, of course, had that spin in the sprint race, and he's now outside the top 10, but he's trying to make his way back. Jay Bass goes to the pits. That's surprising. So Jay really going for the undercut here. I don't know if he either got damage or he just had enough of those tires. Let's check out Jay Bass and Tom Wendt. They both go into the pits. That's surprising. So maybe they were just at the beginning of their fuel window. I don't know. Because it's not quite halfway yet. Halfway would be about 17 minutes into the race. So both of them come in and out. We'll see what that does. Right in front of Jay Bass is Chris Lucky, last week's winner. Chris Lucky is just nowhere tonight for whatever reason. Oh, and Aaron Smith has made his way past Richard Lucky. Let's check this out. Again, is this another? Okay, so Richard just lets him go. Does he just make the pass on the outside? Yeah, wow. So Aaron Smith. So this would be the third road race in succession if he can pull this off, where the winner of the sprint race has gone on to win the feature race. So obviously 2 races ago at Watkins Glen, Richard Lucky did it. He won both the sprint and the feature. He was the class of the field. And then last week at Mosport, Chris Lucky won the sprint, did not look like he was going to win the feature, but then pulled off a no-stop strategy along with his brother, and they were the only ones, I believe, to do that and cross the line. Or Dan Ott did it as well. Dan fell back. But those 3 guys made the fuel last. So we got Benson Weaver off in front of Aaron Smith. Benson wisely stays off to the left. Oh, and he might just park it. He might have had enough. Oh, there he goes. Benson continues on. Benson, I think, downloaded the track a couple of minutes before this race. So the fact that hasn't totally mangled the truck yet is an accomplishment in itself. These cars are not easy to drive. So yeah, Johnny Rapp has made his way up. So maybe a couple of these guys pitting. Johnny Rapp has actually done pretty well to make his way back into the top 10. We saw him back in 13th a few minutes ago. So we're trying to see who has pit. So Dan Ott has pit, Sam Stoner, Jay Bass, Laura Wiseman, Tom Wendt, Mark Royce have all made visits to the pits. Everyone else is still out. Aaron Smith now. We got a battle developing between Evan Hubchak and Phil Keck here. They got Richard Lucky in their sights too. Yeah, Aaron Smith really pounding away at the times here. Aaron Smith just ran a 1:23.9, so he's a second faster than Jacob Bradley. So we give you guys a wider angle there. Phil really working the rear end of that truck to get every last bit of power out of it. We're going to go up front to Aaron Smith. This pass is going to happen pretty soon. Jacob Bradley, who has led a number of laps tonight. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here we go. Here's my laps. So we're almost 12 laps into this race. So sorry. Yeah, we're 12 laps in. Couldn't see it on my broadcast monitor here earlier, but yeah, Aaron Smith has already made his way halfway into the race. He's already made his way back up to the leader. So impressive stuff from him. Johnny Rapp warned us about his road course skills, and I don't think Jacob Bradley is any stranger to Aaron Smith. I think they have raced against each other before. So might not be any love lost. We'll have to see, but I think certainly Aaron Smith's got the upper hand right now. Aaron Smith gets a better exit, but Bradley's hanging on. The more he can hang on, the better this is going to be for Richard Lucky, 3rd spot. Yeah, this is where all of Aaron Smith's passes have been. He's gotten a better run off this corner, and then he's passed the guys. The inside or the outside. Jacob Bradley decides he wants to go inside, and he changes his mind. Doing a little bit of weaving to try and break the draft. Oh, Jacob Bradley pulling all the stops out tonight at Road Atlanta. Oh, Aaron Smith gets a little sideways, loses a little bit of time, but there goes that 50. Oh, and Aaron Smith goes for the pits. There he goes. He doesn't want to lose any more time behind the 50, so he goes in. No one else follows, so a lot of these guys are just going to stay out. So maybe, I don't know, maybe some of them are gonna maybe not take tires, because I think if you stay out that long and don't take tires, that maybe is the only way to make that strategy work. Because we're past the halfway point, so if you were trying to go on just fuel, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. So Aaron Smith is away, so he comes out P8. He's got Chris Lucky right behind him. who has not pitted. So the 77 has made his way into the top 10 for the first time this evening in either race. He's got Sam Stoner behind him. So Sam Stoner right now is P2 of all the people who have pitted. So this is a great run for Sam Stoner. He's ahead of Jay Bass. He's ahead of Laura Wiseman. And then we'll see kind of what the rest of these guys do. And he is about 9 seconds behind Aaron Smith. So Aaron Smith currently P8. Sam Stoner there trying to maybe work his way past Chris Lucky. Richard Lucky has entered the pits along with Evan Hubchak, so they're both in. Sorry, wrong button there. They're both in the pits, so they both go in. I assume they will probably be passed by Mr. Aaron Smith. Let's see if I can get a track map going here. See, there we go. So where is that number 700? He's probably... Yeah, he probably just... Oh, sorry, that's the position. Car number. There's a 700. So the 700 is way ahead of these guys. He's still 32 seconds behind Jacob Bradley. So we start to see the strategies play out. So Richard Lucky did get a jump over Evan Hubchak, and he did get ahead of Sam Stoner. So Richard Lucky maintains his P2, but now he's 6 seconds behind Aaron Smith. So the 4 guys in front have not pitted, and Chris Lucky in 9th place has not pitted. So everyone else has hit. Oh, and here comes Phil Keck, Brandon Brush. So they decide to come in. And they come in together. Jacob Bradley just says, I'm going to go for it. I don't know how much... much fuel he's going to be able to save, or tires he's going to be able to save. Maybe if he's just going to try and go for a fuel only stop. Johnny Rapp was in second, but he just went off the track. I don't know if he was going to try and hold up Phil Keck or Aaron Smith, excuse me. That obviously is not going to happen now. Rapp and Bradley are teammates, so you didn't know if they were going to be working. Oh, and we have Chris Winslow who just spun back there. 45. Oh, did he get whacked again? He got hit by Evan Hubchak. Oh, no. Oh, we have to take a look at this. Oh, my goodness. What just happened? Oh, no. He spun it, and then... Oh, Brandon Brush went off. Oh, my goodness. We'll have to look at that incident after the race. I'm sure Hubchak and Brandon Brush are not going to be happy. So Brandon Brush now in the top 5. So Jacob Bradley, Johnny Rapper, Lone, and Chris Lucky are still yet to pit. Jacob Bradley does have a 20. Okay, Johnny Rapp does finally pit. Brandon Brush has made his way up to what looks like is going to be a P3. So that's amazing that he had such an issue. So he started 11th in this race. So he's up 7 spots so far. Aaron Smith is up 8. Johnny Rapp's up a number of positions too. So we want to know how long the fuel is going to go for Mr. Jacob Bradley. If he comes in this lap or if he stays out. Stays out. Jacob, who has led every single lap of this race. He's either going to make the fuel work or he's going to come in for a splash and go, I guess. Let's go back to P5 here. We got Brandon Brush, Phil Keck deep in battle. Phil Keck, of course, I believe finished, third in the sprint race, and so he finds himself in fifth here, and he's not too far off Richard Lucky. We have Brandon Brush there, a little sideways. Great battle going on between these two. Let's see what Phil Keck can do. He's got anything for him going into turn one. Aaron Smith's last lap was a 23.7. Richard Lucky is running a 23.9, so they're both really close. Richard Lucky's just a little too far back. Needs Aaron to make a mistake. He's almost 9 seconds behind him. Evan Hubchak has crashed. What happened here? Oh no, did you just take too much curb? Oh, he loses it through the sharp left-hander up the hill. Wow. Oh, that's disappointing for Evan. He's running the top 3 earlier in this race. He keeps going. He's in 9th place now. Damaged front end from hitting the 45 of Chris Winslow. So I believe Jacob Bradley continuing to hold a gap. So he's 24 seconds ahead of. Let's go on board with Jacob, see what he's doing. He's just. I don't know if he's just really going partial throttle or what. He's got 30 seconds over P2. Or over Richard Lucky. Yeah, maybe he's just trying to make it work. Here he comes. This is it. All right, let's see what's going on with Jacob. If he just takes fuel or tires or what. Aaron Smith now, surprisingly, is not. What's going on with Aaron Smith? Okay, no, he's way ahead. Okay. So Aaron Smith's now going to run into the lead. I was watching the timers, and that was just because of the pit lane. Yeah, so Aaron Smith goes into the lead. Let's see what Jacob Bradley does. Jacob Bradley comes out, so he probably just took fuel. So he's right behind Aaron Smith. What an incredible job for Jacob Bradley. Let's see if he can make those tires hold. He's got 8 seconds. He's just got to hold 8 seconds over the last 7 minutes of the race. He will have a P2 spot. What an amazing strategy for Jacob Bradley. Being able to make those tires last. I mean, Jacob Bradley's an impressive guy. This might be one of his most impressive runs yet. Yeah, we're watching that gap from Bradley to Chris Lucky. So right now it's about 6.5 seconds. Sorry, Richard Lucky. If I said Chris, I meant Richard. Yeah, I'm just kind of in awe. I can't believe that he actually has pulled this off, and he's still staying within striking distance of Aaron Smith. Incredible stuff there from the 50. So let's go back here a little bit. We got Brandon Brush and Phil Keck still involved in this battle. Phil's trying everything he can to get by. Phil continuing to use all the road. I think Jacob Bradley's going to be good for at least a podium here, even if he's caught by Richard Lucky. So let's go back to the field here. We got Sam Stoner, Jay Bass running pretty close. Purple Ford and the purple Toyota, 6th and 7th. And then you got Chris Lucky, who is still yet to pit. I guess he is going to try and make the fuel last the whole race, which is pretty incredible. That's what he did at Mosport. So do that and come over to the top 10 is going to be pretty impressive. Devin Jack has made his way up into the top 10. And Laura Wiseman, who started on the front row for this feature race, dropped back to 10th or to the back of the top 10 pretty early in the race, but tell you what, she's held her own, and she's about 10 seconds clear of P11 and about 5 seconds behind P9, so she's in a good spot. So we'll go back to the Brandon Brush Phil Keck battle here. This continues to be the best show on the track. These guys have been duking it out pretty much the entire race. This is for P4. Both these guys are race winners. I'll tell you what, both of them are probably hungry for a podium if one of these top 3 falters. Go on board Phil Keck here, see what he sees. Brandon Brush, Phil Keck, and Aaron Smith, the only drivers who are in the 24s right now. Is Phil Keck going to go for it? I think he's going to try and... I don't think he's got it. Yep, Brandon's leader on the brakes. Phil Keck just trying absolutely everything he can. Looks like we had Tom Wendt, Daniel Morris Jr. there. Doing some battling here for P13. They got Evan Hubchak in front of them. So Evan, I think, pitted. He's the only driver who's pitted twice, probably to get a faster pair. So the day has gone from bad to worse, although he's still in P12, so he's got some points. Oh, Dan Ott. So Dan Ott has retired from the race. So I wonder what happened to him. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that I missed that. See if I can find what happened. This was earlier. He went off track. Oh, he crashed. This was the same spot that Evan had his issue. Yeah, that's just such a difficult corner, and eats the tires, and that's the end of that. If you can't tow back to the pits, the race is basically over, so that's a shame for him. For a good run in the sprint race. All right, so we're down to a minute to go here. We're going to start thinking about the white flag. I imagine it's probably going to be after this lap. So we'll go back to the Brush Keck battle. Man, Phil has just been on Brandon's bumper the entire race. I'll have to talk to both of these guys afterwards, but yeah, great run for both of them. It's good to see Phil back here running in the top 5. Yeah, wow, he just totally has it on the ragged edge. so it looks like Aaron Smith's going to come around to take the white flag here. Yeah, this is it. White flag is out. Aaron Smith about to do the double. I think he won the sprint race by about 6 seconds too. And I'll tell you what, my driver of the day is Jacob Bradley. I know Aaron Smith is fast, but to do what Jacob has done, I believe he did not take tires. But just, I mean, he did not have the speed. Well, we got someone who's off. That was Daniel Morris Jr. Sorry, let's go back live here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Morris Jr. has gone off, but he is good to go. Jacob Bradley just is running an amazing race. And then Richard Lucky there probably was good enough for second, but for the strategy, just Bradley made it work. So we're going to go follow Brandon Brush and Phil Keck here one last time, see if Keck's got anything for him. It doesn't look like it. These guys have made this race entertaining, to say the least. We're going to go up front here. Aaron Smith taking the final couple of corners. And Aaron Smith, in his Road and Plate Series debut, completes the sweep. Pole, fastest lap, sprint race win, feature race win. Unbeatable today. Aaron Smith, congratulations. P2, making the fuel, making the tire strategy work is Jacob Bradley. An amazing second place for him. Richard Lucky bringing it home third. Brandon Brush does hold off Phil Keck for P4. That will round out your top 5. Sam Stoner, Jay Bass putting on a show here at the very end. And Sam is going to pip him for P6. Richard Lucky, our winner at Mosport, he's going to come home in 8th. Devin Jack making his way. Oh my goodness, Devin Jack, did he cross the line? I think he did. I think he crossed the line. So he does hold to that P9 and Laura Wiseman P10. Oh, wow. Wow. Alrighty, let's see who we got in our interview booth here. See if we can grab our top 3. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll pull up the results here in a minute. We do not have, we got Jacob Bradley here. All right, and then we got to grab Mr. Richard Lucky. And then we got to grab Mr. Aaron Smith. All right, well, we'll go grab Richard Lucky first here. See what's up with him. All right. Hey, Richard, it's Dustin up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, Dustin, I got you.
Well, congratulations, another podium. I don't think you maybe were as confident about that going into the feature, but you made it work. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never been here before. This was my first time here. I turned about 20 laps of practice earlier today when I got home from work, and I actually felt, I mean, fairly confident until I saw Aaron's lap times, of course, but just did what I could in the sprint race and lost it. I think it was on lap 2, just trying to follow the leader there and trying to learn what I could, and put me in a decent starting spot for the feature. And just once I got to third, I couldn't catch Jacob, and Aaron was way faster than everybody, but it was an eventful race.
Yeah, you kind of avoided a lot of the carnage. There was some heavy battling going back there, especially for 4th. Brandon Brush and Phil Keck were kind of duking it out all race long. That was fun to watch. But yeah, another solid run for you. So, again, you've had one of the most impressive runs of these road courses all season. So it's been fun to watch, and look forward to seeing you up here again. Do you have any thoughts for Talladega? Are you looking forward to that, or are you kind of ready for anything?
I mean, I'll be there. I'm not much of a plate guy, as you probably can tell from the last few plate races with you guys, I keep making mistakes and I'm sometimes a little too aggressive. But I'll try to calm that down and just try to bring home a top 10 next week. But I really like these road courses, and the format that you guys have is really exciting. Even, I mean, to watch on YouTube, but even to drive in, because you're constantly looking at who's coming through the field and who's not. And I believe we still have not had a repeat winner, or did we have one repeat winner? I'm not sure, but
We did. Chris, it was a repeat winner because of last
well,
week, because he won Donington and then he won Mosport.
okay. Well, I mean, either way, I mean, we got a lot of different winners, and it's just hopefully it keeps on rolling like that. And it's just nice running with you guys. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. We're glad to have you. Is there anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
I just want to thank my brother for constantly helping out, but he didn't help out this week because he was in Texas all week and he didn't get home until, I don't know, a half hour before the race
Oh my
started tonight.
goodness. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I was on the broadcast and I was like, what is going on with Chris tonight? He must have not he must not have time to practice. That has to be it.
yeah, and I think that probably affected me too, because we normally bounce ideas off each other and see where one of us is faster and kind of go from there. But yeah, like I said, he was in Texas all week, so just is what it is. But I'd like to thank him, thank my wife, thank you for the league that you put on, and just thanks for doing the broadcast. And yeah, see you next week.
Yeah, man, we'll see you next week. Thanks for showing up. Have a good one, all right?
Yep, yes, sir.
All righty. We got our P2 guy, Jacob Bradley. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad. I randomly saw this session up over here for Road and Plate at Road Atlanta. Just had enough time to make a run at it.
I tell you what, I mean, you're not a road course guy, and you've admitted it. I mean, there's been some where you show up, and I guess it probably depends on how much you practice, but I mean, there's some where you're a mere mortal. You're in like 10th and 11th, and it looked like that after the sprint race. But man, did you come alive in the feature? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I joined with like 5 minutes left in practice, and I've obviously never ran a truck around here. I've only ran like the LMDH. So I kind of knew like where all the corners were, but I had no idea how to take them in the truck. Spent the entire heat kind of learning how to drive the truck. Watched some laps from Aaron in the warm up, and that seemed to play dividends when we started race time there, because I was able to kind of shoot out from the rest of the field, and it was just gonna be a battle between me and Aaron once he finally got around all the cars. He was definitely the class of the field.
Oh, he was insanely fast. But so I assume that you took a no tire strategy, right?
I did not take tires. My entire plan was just take gas from the beginning, run it out, have the lightest truck possible at the end, and hope it would stick.
And I tell you what, man, if Aaron wasn't an alien, you would have won this race. So that's kind of what I wanted with this league, is giving people the options, kind of to, if you can make the fuel stretch. I don't think Chris Lucky pitted, so I think he ran the whole race without pitting. So he's told me in the past that he will like switch off the ignition during the broadcast and just coast around. So you can make the fuel work. It's just really hard to do. But man, what a great run! It was great to see, and it was the first time that I was like, man, I really hope Jacob wins this race because he deserves it. What a run! It's just awesome.
Yeah. I tried to learn it as quick as possible, and I knew the only person who was going to be really, really tough to beat once he got through the field was Aaron, and I almost came off pit road in front of him. I knew he took tires, and yeah, when I was talking with him over there, he said he was kind of scared that I would beat him off pit road there, but it all worked out for him, and I had fun for not knowing the car track combo very well. It was a great race.
Yeah, it was a great race. Anyone you want to thank before I let you go, dude?
Yeah, I want to thank you for putting on this league, all the other admins that helped tonight, Jay and Steve, and I want to thank everybody who was watching the broadcast, and of course the league sponsors.
All right, man. Well, hey, are we going to see you next week for Talladega, or do you have a Road to Pro?
I am at work next week.
Okay.
At
all right.
IRP.
All right. Well, we got a whole.
I'm kind of part-time here.
Okay. Yeah. And you'll always have the number 50. We love having you. So we'll hope to see you in the next one. Congratulations on a great P2. And next time, I hope you bring home a win.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. There he is, the man of the hour, number 700, Aaron Smith. Welcome to Road and Plate.
Thank you.
Tell us about your race, man. Johnny kind of warned us about you. He said that, yeah, as soon as Aaron comes in, he's going to kill everyone on the road courses. And early in the qualifying session, it kind of looked that way. I mean, you had, I think it was like a second or a second and a half of the field, and the guys kind of started figuring some stuff out, clawing back some time. but I think it was pretty evident both during the sprint and the feature that you were the class of the field. Was there any hairy moments, or was there any time that you doubted that this victory was yours?
Oh yeah, the entire time I was in traffic there at the beginning of the main event, it was pretty sketchy back there. I think there was about a maybe 6 or 7 truck pack in front of me there, and I was worried they were going to spin out and kind of stop in the middle of the track at some point. But everyone was courteous. A few people raced me on my way up, and I certainly appreciate that. It was entertaining from start to finish, and I'm glad I came.
Yeah, I mean you were just insane all night long. Is this the first time that you've run this particular truck slash track combo, or have you? I guess you probably did some practice laps before the race.
Oh yeah, I turned a couple laps in the practice session the other night. Made a fool of myself, if I can be completely honest. Spun out about 3 times in the race, so I'm glad I got my brakes dialed in for tonight. And yeah, I've had a few stock car races here in the past, but none in the truck. And the setup was magnificent.
Yeah, the setup was something that I was hesitant to change the setup from the stock ones, just because every time Jacob Bradley has a setup, it drives like a knife edge, right? It's not fun to drive. And someone that one of the guys here suggested a setup and said, hey, this would make the truck a lot easier to drive. You should try it out. And I was like, and then I drove it, and it was like A, easier to drive, and then B, like 2 seconds lap faster, and then C, the tires didn't wear as much. You can actually like race the whole race in these things, which is just awesome. So I think we're going to stick with it for the foreseeable future. It definitely makes the cars a lot easier to drive. So is this going to be a one-off for you, or we going to see you in a couple more of these?
Well, I'd like to race here as much as possible. I can't get enough of the stock cars and road courses, but I do have another Thursday night league coming up here, so I might come back in the near future. It was certainly a good first impression, so if I have the opportunity, I'll certainly be back.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime, man. You're a clean racer, you're a fast racer, and although it's I'm sure a little demoralizing to the guys getting killed by someone so good, racing against faster people does make you better. So we appreciate you being the benchmark, and you're welcome back here anytime.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Before I let you go, is there anyone you want to thank, give a shout out to?
Well, I'd like to thank all of y'all at Road and Plate for having me tonight, and you for putting on the broadcast, and all the folks for watching. I'm looking forward to getting back at it whenever I show up next.
All right, man. Have a great night. Enjoy your win.
All right, thank you.
All right, Mr. Brandon Brush, P4.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
How you doing, man? You and Phil were making the broadcast entertaining for the last third of the race. So I wanted to bring you in and get your take on the events of tonight.
No, it was good. I mean, I absolutely ruined my heat race there. Hit the curb there, spun out, saved it, and then I don't know what happened. I shifted to third and it just lit him up at like 50% throttle, so that was kind of odd. But
yeah, and then you made your way up to P11, I believe, right, in the sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's agonizing, isn't it?
It was. I saw Laura cook the first corner, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I might get this, and I was catching up to her, and it was just too little, too late. I was like, oh man. So, but I was like, I'm gonna pretend that I didn't crash, and I actually got second, and I'm starting back here, not because I screwed up, but because of the invert, and to see what happened. I wasn't sure. I was talking to Jay and Tom. We weren't sure if you could save or not. I didn't think you could.
We're gonna have to get a debrief from Chris Lucky, because he is the only one who did make the fuel last the whole race, and I don't.
He did?
Yeah, he did it at Mosport, and I have no idea how he did it here. I think he probably turned the ignition off for about half the track. I reckon at some point. But I would
assume
the fact that he did that's just nuts. But
I was just like, we gotta pit.
Yeah. Everyone except Chris pitted. So there was a hairy moment during the feature, I think, where Chris Winslow, and I'm gonna have to look at it. We love Chris Winslow, but he was spun in the middle of the track, and I think Evan was in front of you, and Evan just destroyed him. And I think you went to the left to avoid the carnage.
Yeah, that's what me and Jay and Tom were just watching there. Yeah, I was coming out of the pits, and I was like, oh, I gotta get in front of Evan, and then the one car. He was being nice all night. He was coming out of the pits and he was letting all the lead lappers go. But this time I was behind him. I was like, oh, we got to go. So I got to avoid him. Then I see smoke. I see the 45. And yeah, I ducked over to the left and we zoomed in. There was probably 6 inches between us. And I was like, I thought I was gonna get turned. I thought I was gonna clip the rear, and I look and I just see Evan just T-bone him. I'm like, no.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, hey, man,
Yeah, that was
another great run for you, P4. You've been on the podium a couple of times this season. I know you're feeling good for Talladega. You won the first race there, so I know you'll show up again. You got some good experience there. Is there anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
well, I guess on the Talladega front, I'm actually gonna have to miss next week, which I'm mad
That's
about.
okay. That's all right.
I'm going to Vegas. But no, I mean just the usual. I mean we got the Ryan Varnes Foundation on the side there. That's a charity I've talked about in the past. But otherwise, no, I think we're good. It's been a great season. Thanks Dustin for the league. This is great. See what happens next season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, can't wait to see you back, and I know you're going to be stacking those dubs next season too. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, and our last but not least interviews, we're going to talk to Mr. Sam Stoner here. Sam, what's going on, buddy?
Oh man, I mean, that was fun. That was a fun race. I mean, it's not exactly a super high result, but
yeah, it's still a top
definitely had
6.
some action up there. You know, yeah,
we're about 7 seconds off of Phil. It looks like there at the end.
Those guys were really hauling out. I didn't have much hope of catching them. I just wanted to keep Jay in my rear view. You know, I gave him a little bit of space near the end to catch up. Just try to make the finish a little more exciting. But overall, I think I was pretty locked into that P6 there by the end of it.
Well, you did have, so right at the beginning of the race, obviously, the guys I think who finished in the top 3, except for Bradley, well, Aaron Smith and Richard Lucky, I think we're both behind you. So it was like you, Jay Bass, Richard Lucky. Did you have anything for them in that first part of the race? Like, obviously you were hanging with them a little bit, but once they got by, was it just too hard to keep their pace up?
It was pretty tough. I think I picked up the track a little bit quicker, but after they got all that practice out of the heat race, they figured it out and they really unlocked some serious speed going into the actual feature there.
All right. Well, a good result for you. Obviously, it's better than like crashing or spinning out. I know it's not probably what you wanted, but it's still good, and you were competitive the whole race. Now we head to Talladega, and I told Steve Loving that you guys need to work together and try and get that win. Are you feeling confident, or are you dreading it? Are you waiting for the road courses to come back next season?
Well, if we look at my history of racing at Talladega or racing at super speedways, not exactly super thrilled, but hey, I mean, at least the cars are going to look good. We got that theme.
Oh yeah, we got the favorite band theme. Yeah, we got to thank Mark Royce. Shout out to Mark Royce for the idea. So we'll hopefully everyone's truck's decked out, and yeah, that's going to be thrilling. I think I just hope for no wrecks. That's obviously what I hope for, but
it's Dega.
Yeah, it's the last race of the season. No one's going to give a crap. It's I think Chris Lucky is pretty much going to lock up the points championship, probably before the race. Maybe I think Evan might have an outside shot, but yeah, I think maybe it'll be more of like a free for all type fun race. You want to give any shout outs before I let you go?
Yeah, I got my parents watch. My grandfather, I know he's already tuned out, but he
shout out to Grandpa if you come back and watch a replay.
My cousin's been super thrilled with this stuff. He might be. I've been pressuring him come here and give this all a shot. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks to you for putting this on and for stepping up and doing the broadcast, and thanks to the other guys out there because that was a fun time. I mean, we had some really dicey moments, but we all raced very clean.
Yeah, especially at the starts of the races, there was a lot of action. So it was a great show. Good one to watch on the broadcast, and that's what I hope for.
Right on.
Okay, all right, man. Well, we'll see you next week. Thanks again for everything.
See you, Dig.
All right, and so that is, I think that's going to be it for the interviews. Yeah, so we'll call this one now. So Aaron Smith, a newcomer to the series, obviously has put his stamp of authority on, and I think next time he shows up to one of these, he will be hard to beat. So I think everyone's got got that now in the back of their heads. Richard Lucky again proving he's super fast, and Jacob Bradley. We told you he was an elite driver before the race, and he had an elite run and wasn't too far off the leader. So good run for the rest of the people throughout the field. We're sorry for the guys who had some issues. Mark Roy, Stan Ott, Chris Winslow were all several laps down, I think left early. So we hope to see them in the next one. So I want to say thank you to everyone watching. This has been the Road and Plate Stock Car Series. We run every Thursday night. The best place to find information on us is to visit facebook.com/roadandplate. We post all our results, broadcast links, driver info, all that good stuff on there. So give us a follow, and we will see you. I will see you in 1 week's time for our finale at Talladega. So have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you for the next one.